Welcome back to our coverage of the final round of the Inland Off-Road Championship, Round 6, the Kameel 500, and heat number 1 would be the first day of racing where over 250 kilometers would be covered. Out there on the track, Graham Peterson made it all the way from KZN to put in a great performance and take the Class B win along the way. That's a nice position to be in heading into the final day, which will be heat number 2 and the final round and the final 250 kilometers. For Donnie and Elsabe Scholz, they came along for the ride. A DNF put them out. It was an unjust reward for making the trip up to Kameel. A stunning performance saw the Van Josvelds take the overall specials and Class A win, never to be challenged the whole day. This pairing are setting themselves up well as a huge threat in the 2021 season already. Bringing it home in second place in Class A and the specials category meant that Sean and Johan leapt up the championship logs, and with one more day to go, it was now on for the championship. Checking out the first of many production vehicle classes. It was another Class F win for Oki and Jandre Kruger as they extended off the front in their championship as well as their overall championship aspirations. One more scoring round to go. Could they pull the rabbit out of the hat and put an F all the way at the tippy top? The A97, it was unfortunately bad luck for Naldo and Ruan. A DNF on the day meant they had to try all over again. But these double-header events do offer you that second chance. It's not a lost weekend. Many mechanical issues later, Yanni Visser and Donnie Marais finally crossed the finish line in 4th place in Class T, hoping to get it all sorted out for a better run on the final day. That would be heat number 2 at the Kameel 500. When Yanni's on the back foot though, he is dangerous. A DNF put paid to their chances of the win in the Class Gs for the championship, however, but for Aldi Erasmus and Aldrey Hildenaes, could they perform better on the final day and possibly get onto the podium for the final time on the season? It was all spanners on deck between the short prologue and the main race for Crystal Rose and Honor Olivier. Eventually, brake problems and front diff issues reduced the Can-Am Maverick to just a 2-wheel drive car, meaning the front-wheel drives were just there for the journey and driving style would change. They would eventually come across the line in 4th place for the Class Gs, which wasn't too bad an effort considering the rest of the cars they were going up against had all 4 wheels driven. For Wayne Smith and Hendrik Root, they were beaten by the diesels, so clearly the question was answered. The terrain favoured the smokers. Wayne and Hendrik came home 3rd in Class E to ensure they were in a good position though to end off the season high on the log in the Class Es. Another DNF, a heartbreaker for Johan Besson and Navi Gerry Prinsloo, was very frustrating as they certainly showed a great turn of speed, but reliability has been their curse in 2020. For the Mostert brothers, who were unstoppable in the 2019 tour, 2020 has been a year to forget for so many reasons. A 6th place finish in Class G was not enough to nail down the championship, but they were still lying second in the class going into the final day. It wasn't done and dusted, but it was starting to look like a distant hope. For Bumblebee, a 3rd in Class G meant that Glenn Turon and Craig Galvin scored more points than their respective closest rivals. And come the end of the first racing heat, it was looking like celebrations were coming. They simply had to bring Bumblebee home to the finish line at the end of heat number 2 on the final day of the season to nail down their championship that they've been desperate for all this time. Regular national navigator, now jumping into the seat, Jeff Minott scored a stunning 2nd place in Class Gs in his debut drive. Yes, he was on the wheel. It was Andre Salva in the hot seat next to him, screaming and hanging on for grim death. And another pair that were gelling perfectly. They've shown such good form at the Nationals, but bad luck has held them off the very top step, even though they have performed incredibly well when it's all gone their way. Simon Murray on the wheel, Kim Bergman on the notes, and the Total Exilium factory Can-Am Maverick recorded the win at the penultimate time of asking when the flag dropped. For Dolph Toy and his son Daniel, they were chasing hard all day long after not a great performance in the prologue, meaning they were sucking dust early on. They missed out on a Class E victory by a scant 46 seconds. Welcome back, Dolph, and welcome back onto the podium. With the Class E Championship already in hand, adding another win in Class E was just simply looking for the golden season and the perfect run. Johan Visser and Jerry Besson now had one hand firmly on the overall production trophy. It was theirs to lose now, heading into the final day of the season. Terrence's wagon, now in the hands of Shay Parson, had a stunning first drive with the help from navigator Wade Harris, hoping that he didn't have to get out the car and do any repairs, and he didn't. They came home in a stunning second place in production vehicle Class T, and we well may see him get his own wagon and come racing full-time in 2021 if this is what he can do. For the guys that have won more events than anyone else on the season, Ernst Roberts and Henry Kerner seem to save up all their bad luck for the last event of the year. They had problems in the prologue and they continued in the main race as well. In the end, they could only muster a 5th place finish in the Class FIA, certainly not what they are used to. They would be looking for the final day to see if they could get back on the tippy top, their usual step at the inland off-roads. And after frantic repairs to get the suspension sorted out after the prologue on the Toyota, Tiance and James pushed as hard as they could and dared, but still fell 10 minutes short of victory, having to settle for second place in Class D yet again, but still a good result. After their problems in the prologue, they would take the evening to see if they could sort the issues out and chase down their second ever Inland Off-Road Championship win at the final time of asking when the morning rolled round. What a story and what a find on the season these guys have been. Philip Ruiter and Roelof Janse van Vuren in the Penta Motor Group Nissan Navara narrowly missed out on a 3rd place in the ultra-competitive Class FIA by just 2 scant minutes. Surely just a matter of time before we see these guys consistently tasting podium champagne. They have got fast and got fast quick in 2020. Great result for the Nissan boys, who are looking to dominate in 2021. The Class D battle is a formality at this stage. Already decided, it's all about Stompie Meinhardt and Adrian Roots. They have been a class act in 2020. Chased by rivals Tiance Latoy and James O'Mahony, but the team didn't put a foot wrong this time and took the win by the smallest of margins as well. After 260 kilometers of racing, the D11 was once again on top. Remember, that car has only been beaten once on the tour. Another rookie to the sport was Eben Besson and Rian Greiling as they navigated in their Nissan Navara. Great to see these guys back on the box in the Class FIA 343 machine. A great 3rd place in category, the first time they have stepped into the chair together, and it gelled well, thank you very much. The 3rd place in Class FIA is not to be sniffed at. For Henny de Klerk and Andre de Villiers, they had some fuel starvation problems on the Amarok, but they still put in a stunning performance to take 2nd place in Class FIA. Considering Andre has never ever navigated before, it was a stellar result. And Henny is a slow burner. He likes the long, tough events, and this was right up his alley. 2nd place in a car that has not been raced in over a season is a good result. So we now break into the very top of the charts, and it was always going to be like this. Local is lacquer up there at Kameel, and these guys know the terrain like the back of their proverbial hand. Malcolm Cock and his son France chased hard for top honours all day, eventually winning the Class T in the process and scoring a handy 2nd place overall, but they always wanted to take the overall win. They never put a foot wrong and were simply outclassed on the day, but 2nd in an old T is still a great result, and they will want to take more overalls going forward into 2021. With just 250 kilometers to go though, it was the win on the day, going to Big Chris Visser and Albertus Fenter. Remember, these guys haven't been in the chair much. Chris has been on the wheel all season long in the Nationals, but this is a new pairing coming into the inland off-roads. The day was absolutely golden. They were first out on the road in the prologue. They won the prologue. First on the road for the main race that covered over 240 kilometers. They got the overall and the Class FIAs. Great job to the Tota boys. Martin van Jaarsveld confirms his win at the top of Class A's alongside Junior. What a drive from those guys, putting big time into their closest rivals. For the Class B's, all about Graham Pedersen and Bertus Creel Jr. getting the job done. Also, big time gaps there. Class D's, Stompie Meinhardt and Adrian Roots, but the times were close there. Just under 3 minutes between Besson and Princely behind. Class E, Johan Visser and Jerry Besson ahead of Smithy and Root. At the end of heat number 1, that's the first day of racing at Kameel, production vehicles in Class F had TG Jans van Rensburg and Conradi at the top of the pile by less than a minute, and Class G saw Murray and Bergman celebrating off the front ahead of minute. In the FIAs, this was a nail-biter. Visser and Fenter got the job done, putting time into de Klerk and de Villiers, and then Class T was all about the Cox, Markham and France at the top, ahead of Shea Parsons and Harris. In the Drivers' Point Special Vehicle Championship, it's Carleen Croshaw that leads ahead of Sifi van Skalkbeek, and Navigators is Morena ahead of Arthur. Looking forward into the production vehicles, this is all eyes looking forward for the final day. Visser is on top in driving, and Navigators is all about Besson. And that's a wrap for the penultimate round. That was heat number 1 of the Kameel 500. Hold your breath, because just now we will wrap up the season on the final day. That was heat number 2 at the Kameel 500 as we draw a line under a tight, testing and difficult 2020. But racing continues no matter what, and we'll keep bringing you all the action.